And hello, everyone, and welcome to a live podcast of the Can't Hold Sleep podcast. I haven't done this since the website has begun, um, so I'm interested to see how this goes. Um, so we're gonna see how this works out. We might do this more often, but this might not be a subject that everybody enjoys like me, but we'll figure it out, right? Um, so everybody knows I'm a huge wrestling fan, and if you don't, you do now, right? Um, I just wanted to talk briefly about how the WWE is doing, in my perspective, compared to other promotions like AEW, Impact Wrestling, ROH. There's so many different wrestling promotions out there that are really surprisingly doing a great job considering the fact of what's going on with the virus and how they've dealt with the virus. And I really think there's been a lot of good that has come from this virus, unfortunately, in a good way, because it's really made wrestling organizations like AEW and WWE to be more creative, think outside of the box, and change how things have been for a very long time. And I think with AEW especially, they've only been around for a very short time. They're over a year old now, and they've really proven that they can put on a show and make it entertaining so other fans who are used to the newer way of how wrestling's been, like how the independents do it, um, it can work. And the issue that I have with the WWE is they don't let their superstars be creative. They have no control over what they do. They're on a leash. They are told how they should act, how they should wrestle, what moves they can and can't do. And I don't think that's right. It lets these wrestlers fail. You look at these guys that start in NXT. And NXT, if you don't know, is a developmental stage for the WWE. These guys are phenomenal. They come from the independents. A lot of them came from ROH. And a prime example of that is Adam Cole, the guys that are a part of his little faction that is no longer together. Um, it's amazing what they're able to do there, and I think that's all because of the creative within NXT with Triple H running that part of the show and really lets them form their own personality, and it works. But unfortunately, when Vince McMahon, the owner of the WWE, wants to bump up these guys from NXT to the main roster, Vince then changes who they are, what they do, changes their names sometimes more than often, and it's just not right because everything they worked hard on in NXT seems to be flushed away as if it didn't exist. And for these guys that put in their hard work, blood, sweat, and tears for say, I don't think it's right. You look at these guys that have made the move to AEW or Impact Wrestling or even ROH, they have the ability to be themselves, use what they feel is right for their image, their market, because these guys make their money based on their ability to present themselves in a way that is profitable. And you look at some of these guys that left WWE that went to AEW or Impact, they get with Pro Wrestling Tees, who does coincidentally the Pro Wrestling Crate. They do well, and they get the profits from what they sell on their website or the promotion's website. Whereas in the WWE, they take a good chunk. They don't get any of that proceeds. And then what I also think is wrong is Vince is creating all these rules because during the pandemic, all these guys that are in the WWE or were in the WWE weren't working a full wrestling schedule like it was before the pandemic started. They started, you know, doing YouTube. They started doing other social media things that they could earn money so they could survive. Because obviously, I don't think they make as much as they say. I don't think they do well as far as earning the profits. So that's why they're trying to make some extra money, and maybe they do make some good money. I don't know, but I think that it's wrong that Vince McMahon a few months ago, I think it was last year, came up with a new policy changing their contracts, forcing them that they either shut down their, you know, extra ways of making money in their social media sites or hand it over so the WWE can be in control of it. And they then make the earnings and they make the money. It just doesn't make sense. Whereas the AEW and Impact and ROH, they are able to do whatever they want creatively outside of pro wrestling. And I think that's the killer. And for me, since all this stuff has been happening even before AEW was created, I think a lot of us wrestling fans weren't happy with the WWE because of the fact that the storylines were not as entertaining. They keep redoing the matches week after week, and it gets old. And then not only that, they're making up these storylines, contradicting their old storylines, thinking that we don't remember how those old storylines were. And to me, that's not right. They're thinking we're stupid. They're thinking us fans that have some of us like me who have watched since we were kids forget what has happened in prior storylines with other wrestlers. Just doesn't make sense. But Impact Wrestling, ROH, AEW, NWA, all these other guys that have their online shows, TV shows, are doing it right because they're not doing any of that. They're giving them that freedom to live their life, to let them create their image, to not only better themselves and to encourage them to progress in what they're doing, but it also, to me, helps the organization because maybe you didn't notice these guys until you saw them on YouTube and you start watching their videos and you like how they are and you like their personality. You like that they're a gamer. You like that they do ratings on food or whatever. And that gets you intrigued to who they are, and it makes you want to watch them and you become a fan of them. So why would you jeopardize that? Why would you take that away from these people who obviously are working so hard to move up in their career, to get to WrestleMania, to be that superstar that flourishes and grows and becomes as good as The Rock or Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Sting? It's not right that Vince is making not only the wrestlers miserable, clearly, because when these superstars leave the WWE and they go to ROH or Impact, AEW, NWA, and they go on these podcasts and talk about what happened, why they left the WWE, how it happened. There's been a trend, and it's all because of Vince McMahon's actions and how they were treated creatively. And as a fan, you can tell that. You can tell that wrestlers aren't happy. You can tell by the way they do things on their shows, in their matches, whether they're happy or not, whether they're putting in that full effort or not. And for me, that's why it's hard for me to watch WWE. And for the longest time, growing up as a kid, I could never miss an episode. Monday nights, Thursday nights, Friday nights, Saturdays. Used to be when I was a kid, there was Sunday morning shows. I wouldn't miss them. I would record them. I'd get the old VCR out and set the timer and record it. And it has gotten to the point with me where it's not entertaining. It's not fun. And especially after watching a lot of these documentaries, especially on how corrupt Vince McMahon is and the things that he's done behind closed doors to protect these wrestlers that have done criminally bad things, it just hasn't settled well within my stomach. And it's not the type of person that I am. I don't want to support someone or a business that does stuff like that. And that's why I don't buy any more WWE merchandise. If the WWE came to San Antonio or somewhere in Texas, chances are I wouldn't waste my time and give Vince McMahon my money because of how he treats his talent, how he treats us, the fans. It's just not right. However, when it comes to AEW, because they travel more, unlike all the like Impact, they don't travel, they're stationary. NWA, they're stationary, they don't go anywhere. But as far as AEW goes, when I went before the United States shut down with the virus, I saw their second to last show, I believe, in Missouri. And I got to tell you, I've been to many, many WWE events, live events, TV show events, and they didn't even compare. There was no comparison to what AEW did in the ring, outside of the ring, and after the matches and after the show was over. They truly appreciate their fans. They take the time after the matches on TV to slowly go up the ramp, to interact with the fans at ringside. Uh, During commercials, they talk to the fans like they value them and they mean it, which is impressive to me. Um, I feel so lucky that I had the opportunity to be up close in front, right next to the stage, because I was able to take pictures with AW superstars, AW talent that I really enjoy. And one of my favorite wrestlers even came over and gave $11, and it was my favorite wrestler, Hangman Adam Page. It was an awesome moment. I got to see Audrey Edwards right next to us. She's the referee. She's amazing. She took a picture, uh, talked briefly, just briefly to us, and it was amazing. And then got to talk to Private Party, take a picture with them. Uh, uh, took a picture with Cutler. Um, just amazing. And you don't get that feeling because I've been next to the entrance before with a WWE live event, and it didn't even compare. It didn't even come close to what AEW does for their fans. And so I think the biggest difference is the owner of AEW is Tony Khan. He is a part of the family that owns the Jacksonville Jaguars. And for the longest time, he was a wrestling fan. He is a wrestling fan. He enjoys the business and he respects the business. And that shows by how AEW is run. Every talent, every person that's stepped foot in AEW has said the same thing about how the company is. It's like a family. We're like a family. We all care for each other. We help each other. The locker room environment is different. We're respected. We get to do things creatively that we want to do, and they get the freedom. And this is the same thing that we hear over and over and over. And I think that that's pretty cool. So um, I think that's a major thing with AEW that is really doing well for them is the fact that Tony Khan is doing stuff that is not common in the wrestling industry. He's opened the what they call the forbidden door. They're now working with other promotions like Impact, and now they're finally getting started with New Japan Wrestling, which is huge because a lot of the talent over there is amazing. And with them being on AEW, it's going to really jump up the quality of the wrestling matches. And especially with Impact, they got some great guys over there that I would love to see come over. Um, and then they've also worked with AAA Wrestling, which is a Mexico promotion, and that's done well for them. So unlike WWE, where it's just WWE, they haven't done that at least since the ECW days, where they would have battles versus each other. Um, it's unheard of, and so I think it's pretty cool what AEW is doing to give the wrestling fans a different experience than what they're used to. And I think that's why a lot of the older generation of wrestling fans don't have an appreciation for AEW, that they're very judgmental about AEW, whereas the younger generation fans are enjoying this because it is a whole different look, whole different style. And some people don't like the high flying moves and all that stuff, but I don't mind it. I think the WWE has always done a good job in the past of adapting. When WCW came out, um, they had a great cruiserweight division. And once the cruiserweight started to get popular in the WCW, you noticed in WWE that Vince started bringing out their lightweight division, which I got to tell you, in comparison, it wasn't as great. And the nice thing about AEW, it doesn't matter if you're a cruiserweight, a lightweight, whatever. Everybody has an equal opportunity to go for the main title of the AEW World Championship, which is awesome. However, they do have the TNT title, which um, is based off of being on TNT, the TV channel. Um, that gives the lower card or up and coming talent have a way to kind of shine to go for that title, which is pretty cool. Of course, they got the tag team titles, which AEW has been really good with tag team matches. They are switching up people within teams. They've got their old traditional tag teams that have been around for a while, and it's working out for them. Um, I think tag team wise versus WWE, um, there's no comparison. I think AEW has the better tag team uh, lineup. I mean, you can't beat the Young Bucks. You can't beat uh, the can't believe I forgot their names, but you got the oh man, I can't believe I'm forgetting these wrestlers' name. You got the Butcher and Blade. I'll go from there. You got the Death Triangle with the Lucha Brothers and uh, Pac. And you got the just a lot of great talent that is growing really big in AEW, and I think the issue with WWE is they aren't utilizing the talent they have to kind of mix things up to really form good teams to go against the tag teams that have been around and stay together. Um, but what also doesn't set well with me with the WWE is they constantly give the tag team titles to the same tag teams back and forth. They don't give it to teams that you don't really expect, um, which gives the spotlight to those younger talent. It's always the New Day or it's the um, Street Profits. You know, it's always the same stuff. It does not make sense. Um, but yeah, it's interesting how Vince McMahon has been known to have his own ways, and some people think that it still works. I don't think it is. I think it's time for him to pass the torch over to Stephanie and Triple H or to Shane. I think that it's time for Vince to kind of step down in his role, and he can still be there as a talent. I don't think that Vince should fully step away from the business. I think there's a lot he can still do, but as far as running and owning the WWE, I think it's time that there's a change. Because how can you compete with AEW and especially with Impact now? Impact has really changed. They've really done a good job with putting on a good show with some good talent, young up and coming stars. Um, and I think that's the focus with AEW, especially with their new third show of Dark uh, that they just started this week. That we're going to start seeing talent from the indies and these new guys that are really going to get the attention of us fans that are really hungry for new and exciting things in the world of professional wrestling. And so I personally have written numerous AEW wrestling talent. I've even wrote Tony Khan a message just repeatedly telling each one of them um, just how much I appreciate what they've done for the world of professional wrestling. Because as a fan, I've really enjoyed the the excitement, the thrill of, what's gonna happen next. And I think AEW's really done a great job of doing just that, keeping me on my toes, wondering what's gonna happen. This is incredible. Uh, and usually with professional wrestling, especially with WWE, Vince doesn't really like to give pay-per-view quality matches on normal TV. It's about, building up for the next pay-per-view and a lot of drama and all this stuff. But with AEW, it's new matches. They're building up for these pay-per-views that aren't monthly. They do them every 3 to 4 months, it seems, and they build up their matches for those pay-per-views in a way that's different, that makes it exciting. So when it comes to the pay-per-view, you're excited. You want to invest that $49 or whatever it is to go to BR Live or, whatever way you watch AEW pay-per-view, and you're just excited. You're pumped up. And by the end of the pay-per-view, you're feeling like, "Dang, this is awesome." Now, of course, this last pay-per-view with the thing that unfortunately happened with the pyro that went wrong, that didn't go off like it was supposed to, yeah, it left a lot of people with bitter tastes in their mouth with AEW. But for me as a wrestling fan, I didn't base how good the pay-per-view was just by that one dud of, no pun intended, the dud of the ending of the match. I based it off the whole show, and the whole show was amazing. There was not one match that wasn't incredible. That last match with the barbed wire, forget about the explosion at the end. It was one heck of a match. Seeing someone getting clobbered with barbed wire, I don't know what it is. It just makes me cringe, but it's so exciting to watch because the way they put on their match makes it very, very entertaining. And the fact that John Moxley, formerly known as Dean Ambrose, is doing such an incredible job, with how he does his matches and how he puts himself out as a wrestler is truly amazing. And it's unfortunate that Vince McMahon wasted that talent, and now that talent is competing against him and is doing really well. Kenny Omega, he was in the WWE for a little bit. Wasn't there long, but look at him now. He flourished in New Japan Wrestling. He is doing amazing things, not just in AEW as one of the vice presidents of the company, but he is also doing amazing things helping out Impact Wrestling. And that's the thing I want to bring up too. WWE is not about helping other organizations flourish so there's friendly competition. A- the WWE is about themselves. Vince McMahon wants to create it to where he's the only thing on the market, which makes it not fun for us fans because it's not entertaining then. It takes the fun out of it, especially when you're not utilizing the talent that you have the way that you should. But with Impact, with New Japan, with AAA, with AEW, where they're all working together, along with these other small independent wrestling promotions, they're helping each other out. Because when you see someone from, for instance, Thunder Rosa, she's been on AEW for a long time now, since the pandemic started. She is a NWA talent. Seeing her on AEW makes me want to watch NWA when she's on it. And quite frankly, there's some really good talent on NWA, or there was. I haven't seen it since they shut down, and now supposedly they're coming back. But with Impact, I didn't like Impact for a long time. They were a struggling wrestling company started by Jeff Jarrett. Then left after Dixie Carter took over, and then uh, Jeff Jarrett came back after forming Global Force Wrestling, and then they merged. It just just wasn't entertaining. It wasn't fun. Yeah, there was Sting. Yeah, there was the Dudley Boys over there. Yeah, there was a lot of good talent. Christian was even over there. Um, it just wasn't fun. They were trying, TNA Impact Wrestling started right after, or shortly after WCW got bought out and got closed. So I think that TNA was trying to recreate WCW in a way, but make it unique because then they created the octagon style ring, which it wasn't entertaining for me. I like the squared circle. I don't like the octagon style wrestling ring that TNA came out with. Um, but yeah, I think that with what Impact's doing, they're doing it right. They're creating incredible storylines, not just uh, with the younger talent, but the older talent and the veterans of the business. And I've seen a lot of people's comments online in regards to AEW hiring and making all these big announcements of surprise new signees. And a lot of people are upset because of it being Sting or Paul White, or now Christian Cage just joined AEW. You already got Chris Jericho. I guess you could throw John Moxley in there. Uh, you got Jake the Snake. You got all these old WWE guys that are in AEW. And a lot of people are upset by that because they feel like maybe they're taking the spotlight away from the younger talent, which may be, but I disagree. And here's my thoughts on that. AEW is using and utilizing older talent to help make the younger talent grow. They don't obviously have a performance center like the WWE does. So they're using these veterans of the business, these big name guys, to help make the younger talent grow, be TV ready, but also use them on TV to have them in matches to make the younger talent look good so these younger talents then can become popular because of that style of match, which is all common sense. But to me, it's genius. Having the Big Show there is a great idea. He can help with the big guys in the business. Having Sting there is great for those guys that, like Darby Allin, who wears face paint, how he's a dark, mysterious type of wrestler. That will benefit him. I mean, you also got Dustin Rhodes, or Dusty Rhodes, who his son, uh, just I can't remember, not Dusty Rhodes. My goodness, what am I talking about? As a wrestling fan, I should be ashamed that I just said that. Uh, Dustin Rhodes, he brings in a whole different perspective of wrestling too, because of his style. And of course, you got his wrestling academy here in Texas, in not in San Antonio, but in Austin, I believe. And then I think there's also stuff that he does in Houston. But they're all doing things to benefit the business. They're all doing things to help the talent. And that's one thing that the WWE does not do because they're more focused on creating these images that Vince McMahon thinks is appropriate. And they're not really teaching them how to be themselves. Creatively, they're not being them, they're being Vince. And so, um, as a wrestling fan, I think of myself as a serious hardcore wrestling fan. I love wrestling. Um, it's just disappointing that for the longest time I loved the WWE. And don't get me wrong, I still watch it so I can know what's going on. Do I enjoy it? No, I think it's painful. I watch it so I can review it. I watch it so I can apparently just be bored because I can't sit and enjoy it. But when AEW comes on, when Impact Wrestling comes on, I'm hooked. I don't want to get up. I'm literally just sitting there enjoying every single minute of the wrestling, of the entertainment that they put on. And I think that says a lot for their business. But I think that makes the WWE look really, really bad when you've got a company just over a year old that's dominating the business, that's changing the face of how wrestling is. And you think after the pay-per-views or the TV shows and the matches that AEW puts on weekly that things would change the next episodes for Raw and SmackDown or NXT, that they would step it up. But unfortunately, that doesn't happen. Unfortunately, it is something we just continually, as fans of the WWE, wish and pray that things would change, that things would get better, that wrestlers would start being treated fairly. Uh, and it just doesn't happen. You keep reading news stories about the ridiculous things that Vince McMahon is placing for all these rules. Like, no more leg slaps. That's ridiculous. A leg slap is basically when someone super kicks someone and they make that slap noise that you hear. It's a leg slap. Vince McMahon no longer wants that. It's just like taking away their social media, taking away their ability to be themselves. It makes no sense. No sense whatsoever. And so, yeah, but that's what I think about WWE versus other promotions. Um, I'm going to try to post this on the YouTube channel. So if you're watching this on YouTube, I encourage you to leave your thoughts and comments about this WWE versus other promotions debate. Um, just please keep it respectful. You know, as much as we like to bash the WWE or AEW, Impact, all the other promotions that are out, um, there's a way that you can show and express your dislike in a way that isn't disrespectful and isn't rude and doesn't involve um, vulgar comments. Um, this is the Kent Holstey podcast. This is a site to be positive and encouraging. And uh, I guess a fun way of doing this too is in the comment spot. If you were Vince McMahon or Tony Khan or uh, these people that run Impact or ROH, New Japan, what would you do to create a unified wrestling community that isn't happening right now? Put that in the comments spot. I think that would be interesting. Um, just join in the conversation. I appreciate everybody that's tuned in to the Facebook Live here on the Kent Holstey podcast on Facebook. I really appreciate it. So make sure that you like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Um, I really appreciate all the support that's been on there so far. It means a lot. And I hope that you guys are enjoying the content on the KentHolsteyPodcast.com website. I've worked really hard this last month to change a lot of the look and the features, and I keep getting ideas and trying to use them to um, get more views. And I really hope that you guys are enjoying that. And I'm open to any suggestions. Just private message me on my email, which is, of course, KentHolsteyPodcast@gmail.com. And I would be glad to talk to you guys. If you guys know anybody that has a positive and encouraging life story that they want to share, that can motivate someone, put get in contact with me through that email as well. Or if you just got a cool event that you're doing, I'd love to share that so people can learn about it and hear about it through alternate ways through social media. So thanks a lot for your time, and I really hope that you enjoyed this topic. This is the first time I've talked like this on video or live about professional wrestling. I know a lot of people either they like it or they hate it. I myself am thoroughly entertained with the way that AEW, Impact Wrestling, ROH. I was enjoying NWA before they shut down, and now apparently, like I said, supposedly they're coming back. Um, I like how all those promotions are doing. Even New Japan, I think they're just really doing a great job since the new takeover in management there. I'm interested to see going forward what happens with that. Um, Also, keep on the lookout if you're a wrestling fan for the next unboxing of Pro Wrestling Crate and Pro Wrestling Loot. Hopefully, those will be coming here soon for the month of March. I really enjoyed that. In fact, the last Pro Wrestling Loot box has gotten the most views on my YouTube channel, which is insane. It's like, I just checked it, it's at 97 views, which is amazing. Thank you to anybody who has watched that. Um, I hope you enjoyed it. Um, I really enjoy getting cool merch through those boxes. So, yeah. So, anyways, I'm going to end this Facebook Live. Once again, if you're watching this later on YouTube or any of the other social media sites, thank you for clicking that link. Don't forget to think and be positive. Do what you can today, not what you can't. And I believe in you. Don't you think you should too? And if there's one thing I could tell you out of anything, it's to be kind to one another. In fact, here's a great way you can be kind. If you see someone who served our military or anyone who served our country, whether it be police, fire, medical, whatever, if you know they've served, take the time to give them an elbow, thank them, tell them how much you appreciate them. You never know how much they might appreciate that one random act of kindness. Man, I can't talk. But anyways, I hope you have a great day, great night whenever you're watching this. Until the next time we talk, God bless, and I'll see you guys soon.